want you to introduce yourself to them. Thank you.
All right. Good afternoon to you all. It's my pleasure being here. I'm Dorcas Koki. Usually I'm known as a Sports Diva on air, but here I'm Dorcas Koki, simply put. I am in a male-dominated career path. I'll put it that way. It's not every day you get to see a female, a woman, in football. It is just recently that women are venturing into the sport in every sense and, playing football, becoming commentators, which I just started, so it's quite good for me too as well. I would say that I'm honored being here, and thanks to J Mouse for inviting me. I'm usually very shy. It's quite ironic because you would think that broadcasters should be public speakers, which they should be, obviously, but hiding behind the mic helps me a whole lot. So thanks for having me here.
What role do you believe that media plays in shaping the career path of players, and how can young players make the most of this exposure?
I think my colleague Koki spoke properly about what the media does and how young athletes, not just footballers, should portray themselves in the media. It is very important. Earlier, Chidemaz was talking about leveraging on social media. You have to have access to these things. It's the basic rule. If you're going to go into a saturated career path like football, athletics, you name it, any sport, I have followed sports for a very long time. From childhood, my father used to be a footballer, so you could imagine he doesn't have a boy, basically. So he has 7 girls, and we are technically all sports lovers, not just football lovers. So I follow lawn tennis, I follow football, athletics, you name as much sports as possible. It is very important that you, as a young athlete, get to know the basics first. And I'm very sure that Dr. Chooks Agi, I just met him a few days ago, actually it was when we came to inspect the venue for the public service game, so it's nice seeing you here today. It's important that you, as a young sport person, is quite abreast with how to navigate the media. It is very, very important. The media is one way where you can shine forth, show your talents to the world, and people get to see who you are and how to relate with you and in every sense. So there are times where as broadcasters, as a radio broadcaster specifically, there's actually invite these young stars, young athletes in the studio to have a session with them. And sometimes they're like, they're shy, they can't speak English, and there's something you have to know about radio people. They will relate with you the way you relate with them, right? So if you're not fluent with English language, we'll break it down to whatever you understand. If I cannot speak your language, I can get someone to interpret the language for you to make it easy and for you to be as relaxed as possible, right? So you have to first off find a way to navigate your way through the media, also social media. You have to learn. Facebook, X these days, maybe known as Twitter, it's a very vast space for you to use and to meet coaches, scouts, clubs, your fellow players. Is a means for you to do that. So you have to ensure that you use it correctly, in the correct sense, and that's the only way you will get to the level where you are expected to get to. So while you're at it, as a young athlete, first off, put work in. You have to ensure that you put a lot of work. And then when the media comes, be able to speak your mind, be honest. When I mean honest, I'm not saying you should tell me what you ate last night, or when I'm asking you a question about how passionate you are about your sport, why are you in this sport, why are you venturing to become a footballer, you have to give me your reasons, right? You have to tell me, I love it, it's a career. If you want to make money, it's fine. People make money from it, right? So it's a big space, and the media, you can use, we are here for you to use. That's basically what we do. We're here for you to use us. And hopefully, you make us proud of yourself, proud as well as your family.
Thank you very much. Let's give everyone and learn. So the next question is, you cover a whole lot of stories about players' journey What advice would you give to young players facing challenges on their path to success?
Okay, so I specifically had to write this down, so I wouldn't, talk a whole lot. We're limited, we have limited time, so I have to do this as swiftly as possible. And like you said, as a podcaster, I've had the privilege of sharing inspiring stories across the board, be it football, be it professionals, or even from the grassroots. I have been able to do that as well, just so that they can overcome their obstacles and get to where they want to be. So you have to set clear goals and visualize your success. What do you want to do? Okay, you've agreed that you're going to be a footballer. Now you have to set clear goals. As a footballer, what do you want to achieve? And when you have done that, you can now visualize them. Let me try to break it down for you. You have to define your why. In other words, identify your motivations and your reasons for pursuing your athletic goals. That's one of the ways to set your goals. Next you do is set specific and measurable objectives. This is to say that you break down your long-term goals into smaller, achievable milestones that you want to achieve in your career. And then you visualize this success. That is, imagine yourself achieving those goals that you've set out to achieve, right? By overcoming all of these obstacles and celebrating the successes that in the future you will get. So that's one thing. Visualize those goals and they'll set clear goals and then visualize those goals. Even when you're not professional yet, it's going to motivate you to success. That's just one. Then develop a growth mindset. You have to develop a growth mindset. That is, simply put, embrace challenges. I have heard a lot of times, in fact, it's what life is. You would fail to eventually succeed. It's basically life. You must fail and you will succeed, right? So how did I get into broadcasting basically? I was in school. I attended Federal Polytechnic Nekede. I studied mass communication. And like I said, I was extremely shy, that I practically wasn't noticed at all in class. What I did was, the best way for me to put myself out there was to get into the radio setting in my school and to talk about what? Sports, what I love to do, what I love practically. So I got in there, and the first day I was asked to present, I was mostly the analyst, but the day I was asked to present, I was shaking vigorously. I was literally very shy. What is behind the mic? So why am I that shy? Eventually I did it, and that was the break point for me. I've always thought I'm going to be this person, and eventually I have the opportunity in front of me, but I was too shy to want to start doing it. But I did it, and that's how I got here. There are people who put me in this part, so you have to ensure that while you're at it, you make them proud and you make yourself proud. So set clear goals and, of course, develop that growth mindset by embracing challenges. The next one is focus on progress, not perfection. Focus on your progress and not perfection. Celebrate those small wins you have. Let's assume the first time, let's say, administrator Chidi Mas saw you the first time. You were just playing grassroots football, you don't have a club specifically. And then when he noticed you, a club came. Let's assume there's one club, Osklin here for female footballer, Osklin Academy is here. And you move from that grassroots to that academy. That's a small win for you, it's growth, right? So you celebrate that. You're not where you want to be yet, but it's growth. So you have to celebrate those small wins that you've made and acknowledge progress towards all of those goals. Then, like I said before, learn from failures and setbacks. Someone once said that there is no success without failure, as they walk hand in hand. Like I said before, you will fail towards achieving what you want in life. So when you fail, what do? Pick yourself up, dust yourself, and try again. That's basically what you have to do. So analyze those mistakes, identify areas of improvement or for improvement, and apply those lessons for future challenges. And that's the only way that you get to move forward into whatever line of work that you're in. This is basically life lessons, because football is also life lessons. As a footballer, you're a person and it's a career path, and that's the only way that you eventually get to make it. And there is one thing that is very important. Build a support system, not just a support system, a strong support system. If you're already in the club, you do know that your support system could be your coach, could be your teammates, could be those very close friends that have pushed you all the way to where you currently are, playing professionally or as an amateur, right? So it's a strong system. People who believe in you and will not fail to put you in the right path, even when you're going the other way around. People that can face you and tell you, that's not the way to go, this is the way to go, as long as they are speaking the truth, right? So you should also learn to take criticisms. If someone tells you every single day, oh, you're a fantastic footballer, you're great, and you're happy when someone tells you that, right? But immediately they criticize you, you're downcast, you're like, I can't do this anymore. But criticism also has to be constructive while you're criticizing somebody in the profession. You don't just come out and abuse people. We Nigerians, we know how to abuse people. I'm sure you know that. I will give you an example. Maduka Okoye, Super Eagles goalkeeper, when the first mistake happened against Tunisia in the AFCON round of 16, when we lost, we played the group stages. We had 100% record getting to the round of 16. That mistake came a long-range shot by the Tunisian player, got past Maduka Okoye, and that was the goal that sent Nigeria packing out of that tournament. Immediately after that, Maduka Okoye was abused, his family was threatened, everything, you name it. Ojo Igalo as well. I'm sure you are also familiar with Ojo Igalo's situation. But that is not constructive criticism, that is basically abuse, right? So you have to understand that while people praise you, they would also have to criticize you when you are not playing well. As a footballer, you must take criticisms. So you have to learn to take honest feedback and work towards getting better with those criticisms that have come. I hope I've answered your question though.
Yes, you have. Can we give her a round of applause, please? Identify your motivation for going into football. Break down your long-term goals into achievable ones. Develop a growth mindset. Focus on your progress and not perfection. And you should be able to accept constructive criticism. So to the next question, in your experience, how important is communication for an athlete, both on and off the field?
I think also my colleagues spoke about the way of life. You have to learn to communicate. We are all here because we understand one thing. The game changes conflicts. That's why we're here. We understand that. They have communicated something to us, and that's why we're here. We understood it, and that's why we're here. If I come here and I speak Spanish, knowing well that nobody in the room speaks Spanish, will I be communicating? Obviously not. So communication is a way of life, and it's very important for us to communicate, hear each other, for us to understand. So for a young athlete, you have to learn to communicate. It is important that you know how to communicate. And I've said this before. If English is not your forte, don't worry, speak your language. You will get somebody to interpret for you, because you must be heard. You must be heard, and that's why people, you get to hear Spanish footballers whenever they are asked after a game. They have an interpreter, the person will come, and that's all. It's fine. You don't have to learn no English. If it's pidgin, we'll break it down. It's simply how it works. So for a young athlete, communication is very important, and like I said, we in the media space, we always want to put you in there and help you grow. That's what we love to do. I love the grassroots a whole lot, just like Chidi Miles. And I think earlier this year, there was a football player with an academy called, with a football club basically, called Borussia in Port Harcourt. He scored in a year, in a season, he scored about 46 goals. And he looks a whole lot like Victor Osimhen. So because we've communicated, and he has already set goals for himself, he's already visualized those goals. What I had to do was help put him in the media space. And by putting him there, in less than how many months, he finds himself in Serbia playing professional football. So it is important that you communicate with the media, have friends in the media. We are not big boys or big girls. Who are we? We are not, but like I said, we're there for using. You have to use us to get what you want by being honest. It's also important because even professional footballers have journalist friends that they are friends with, and they put them in the newspapers, on TVs. There's always something to talk about that person. And that's why you get to hear Victor Osimhen every single time, because he has friends in the media space that will push him out there. Why do we not hear more from Ademola Lookman? He's a very fantastic footballer for the Super Eagles. I'm sure you know him if you watch the Super Eagles. He's a shy guy, so he doesn't exactly have friends in the media as much as he should. So they don't get to portray him as much as it's just when you're having to analyze him, what he has done for the team, and how good he is, and you get to hear Ademola Lookman's name. So when you have friends in the media, they help you, they propel you to greatness. They help you the little way that they can to put you out there, because it is important as a young player that you should be out there. Try to take every opportunity that comes. If it's trials, please attend. If it's tournaments, always ensure that you want to play by also taking care of yourself. It is very important that a fit you is going to be a successful you, right? So ensure that all of this work, and hopefully we get to see you at the top.
Athletes can get equal recognition in the media, and what can they do to amplify their voices and stories?
So like I said before, it is very difficult as a woman being in this industry. It wasn't easy because they're going to say some mean things, which obviously I'm not going to say here, but if you know what you want, you will continue doing it because it's what you love and it's the passion that you have. So for a female, how do I think that a female athlete can get equal recognition in the media, and what can they do to amplify their voices? It's one, I've talked about this the entire time, media representation and coverage. The same way their male counterparts are being covered should be the same way that the females should be covered. If the females are having a commentator in their game, the female should have a commentator. If the male have a World Cup tournament, the female should be able to have a World Cup tournament. So it is in that process that the female athletes will be able to showcase their talents and exactly where they want to be. So it's important that they have the media coverage and representation that is increasing airtime and space. What is airtime? I'm sure most of you are not familiar with airtime. It's not the usual credit you get on your phone. For a broadcaster, airtime simply means the time where you will come on to speak about something. If it's you wanting to broadcast or showcase what you're selling, you can buy airtime. That's what it's called. In a radio station, TV station, I'm sure those of us in the broadcasting space understand that. So it's very important that they get the media airtime and print space as much as possible. The next thing is showcasing women's sports as mainstream. You have to showcase women's sports as mainstream. This simply means that to treat women's sports with the same level of importance and excitement as the men's game. The men's game is exciting. The men's football have been played for over 100 years. The women is not even up to 30. It's not even up to 30. But it's starting to gain the attention that we are all clamoring for. So if today, back in the days, when I told my dad that I would like to play football, the first thing he said was he didn't want his girl to look like a man, which is what most female footballers look like. They're like tomboys, they wear baggy clothes. I don't have a problem with that. If that's what you love, please, by all means, do it. So most parents will tell you, no, it's not for my girl. I want my girl to go to school. I want my girl to do that, and that. But these days, there is a project, Oshola, There's a project matter. Everybody wants to do that. So our parents also have to understand that it's not just for the men anymore. It's also for the women. So women can also play football. If you love it and you want to do it, parents should support their girl child to go into football. And that is also one way that we can broadcast, get the girl child to get more attention and more recognition when it comes to the media space.
Continue to do what you love. We are so glad to have you. Thank you so much. What do we say to her?
Thank you very much, ma'am. On behalf of Home Ballers and the Game Changers Conference, we present this to you.